June 13. 1483. Anthony Whitfield, Earl Rivers, beheaded at Pontefract. 1502. Oliver Maillard, a French divine of the Order of Cordeliers, died. He was an eminent preacher, and published several volumes of Latin sermons. 1584. John Sambucus, a learned German physician, died. His learning attracted the attention of the Emperor Maximilian II, and he was appointed Counselor of State and historiographer of the German Empire. He wrote several learned and useful works. 1605. Riot at Moscow, when Fyodor Godunov, the reigning Tsar, who had been but 2 months on the throne, was dragged with his family from the palace, and shut up in one of his own private houses, where he was murdered a few days after. 1633. Lord Baltimore obtained a grant for a tract of land in America, now the state of Maryland, which was first settled by a colony of Catholics. 1666. Second charter granted to South Carolina by Charles II. It was an enlargement of the previous charter, making the colony independent of any other province. 1678. Henry Scougal, an eminent Scottish divine, died, aged 28. His great exertions to sustain himself as a professor of theology at St. Andrews, and as a preacher, threw him into a consumption, and he died greatly lamented. 1710. Second Great Immigration of Palatines. 1721. A treaty concluded at Madrid with Great Britain. The ships employed for the traffic of Negroes by the Royal Company of Great Britain were to be admitted, without hindrance, to trade freely. 1757. Decree of Pope Benedict XIV, prohibiting the use of any version of the Bible in the common language. 1767. James Worsdale died. An English painter and dramatic writer. 1769. Corsica seized by the French. General Paoli fled, and embarked at Corsica for England, where he remained until 1790. 1770. Woodfall, the publisher of the Letters of Junius, was prosecuted and found by the jury guilty of printing and publishing only, which was tantamount to an acquittal. 1777. William Batty died. An eminent English physician and medical writer. 1780. Major General Gates ordered by Congress to take command of the Southern Department. 1780. A society formed in Philadelphia, under the name of the American Daughters of Liberty, for the purpose of supplying the soldiery with clothing, was divided into 10 districts, and 4 appointed to each district to solicit subscriptions. Their donations amounted to 2,030 shirts, and they obtained 77 shirts and 380 pairs of stockings from New Jersey. 1788. George Lukens dispossessed of 7 devils by the same number of clergymen, in the Temple Church, Bristol, England. 1794. Battle of Ghent. The Austrians defeated by the French. 1794. Violent earthquake and eruption of Mt. Vesuvius, which did much damage. 1796. Action between British ship Dryad, Lord Beauclerk, and French frigate La Proserpine, 45 guns, which last was captured in 44 minutes, with the loss of 30 killed, 45 wounded. British lost 2 killed, 7 wounded. 1797. Simon Andrew Tissot, a celebrated Swiss physician, died. He was the advocate of experimental rather than theoretical systems of medicine, and early adopted the practice of inoculation. His fame was not confined to his own country. 1810. Bonaparte prohibited the exportation of grain. 1813. Battle of Carcagenta, in Valencia. The Spaniards under General Elio attacked the French, and were defeated with the loss of 1,500 men, of whom 700 were taken prisoners. 1817. Richard Lovell Edgeworth, an English philanthropist and practical philosopher, died. He invented the telegraph, which was generally adopted during his lifetime. He spent a great part of his life in improving and experimenting on various instruments used in agriculture and the arts. 1833. James Andrew died, principal of the East India Company's seminary at Addiscombe, and author of a Hebrew grammar and dictionary. 1843. Charles Stearns Wheeler, of Massachusetts, a good scholar, died at Leipzig, Germany, aged 23. 1848. Pierre Van Cortlandt died, aged 86, a gentleman who filled many important public stations, civil and military, in the state of New York. 1848. Gamaliel S. Olds, a distinguished American scholar, died at Circleville, Ohio, aged 71. 1855. The anti-slavery branch of the American Party, called the Know-Somethings, assembled in convention at Cincinnati. 1857. Whirlwinds occurred in several parts of the state of New York, and in other states. This was the day in which the astrologers of Europe had predicted the destruction of the earth by a comet, and much alarm existed even in this country, insomuch that deaths actually occurred from fear. The village of Pania, Illinois, was wholly destroyed.